Hello, welcome back to another video. In this video, we're going to be comparing Flight Simulator X's San Francisco scenery to the new Flight Simulator 2020. So this video will be showcasing the 2006 game and scenery from San Francisco. So we're flying the F-18, and my scenery on the airport's messed up because I was installing a scenery pack, and for some reason it completely just overrides my airport. So can't fix that, but we'll be looking at the main city of San Francisco. So we'll go ahead and depart. Alright, we'll go ahead and start heading over to the main city while we get there. Okay, so one of the big highlights is this is 101 coming up into the city, and this is an old stadium. I don't know if it's still there or if they tore it down, but I'm curious to see if the stadium will be here in the new game. It used to be an old, I think it was an old baseball stadium. So, yeah, there used to be an old baseball stadium, so I'm curious to see if that's still going to be there. All the hills and mountains should be pretty similar in location, but, you know, clearly a big open path just won't be doing it. So this is the main city of San Francisco. The Bay Bridge is straight ahead of us. It's a very bland city. It doesn't actually show any of the buildings. You can kind of see the Transamerica building. Other than that, San Francisco, you can't really tell. There's the, I think it's the Giant Stadium, right on the wharf there. And of course, all of these are the piers, so who knows what piers these are. But this main city is a little bit boring. It's, you know, it doesn't have very much. It's just some skyscrapers. Now, coming over here, we'll do a few laps around Alcatraz. I'm really curious to see how they're going to handle this. So I'm going to go ahead and fly kind of next to it. I'll pause the game here. Okay, as we can see, Alcatraz here is just a very weird rendered island. You can somewhat see the main jail tower, a lookout tower, some other somethings there, but there isn't very much. I'm really curious to see if they're going to have everything, because in real life, you know, you dock over here, there's a big walkway up. I'm really interested to see the detail of Alcatraz. That'll be really interesting. Up next, we're going to fly over to the Golden Gate Bridge, and I'll go ahead and make a left turn, and we'll pause it so we can pause and get a good view of the bridge.
Over, G.
Okay. Let's get a good view, and we'll pause. So the Golden Gate Bridge, it has okay detail. It's not horrible. It is definitely I think one of the better bridges. The Bay Bridge over here is okay, but even from this distance, you can see like almost individual pixels of the bridge. Like you can actually see it going down. I'm really looking to have, you know, a very realistic feeling. I want to be able to really see the detail on some of these objects. If you zoom in, you can pretty much clearly see, like, these are supposed to be the ropes holding it up, but it really just looks like a rectangle when you get close to it. Far away, it's not as noticeable. It looks more, you know, real. When you get up close, just the resolution isn't there, the texture isn't there, and I'm really excited to see like this specific bridge and the new game. Let's go ahead, zoom back out, and we can fly over to some of the port cities along the coast here. This is the back end of San Francisco back here. A lot of homes are back here. It's not shown very well. And there's a whole bunch of buildings, but these are all in big grids. It's really nice. This is one of the parks in San Francisco that you can see well here. I believe this is a golf course actually, and you see some trees and just these. It looks like gravel roads. I mean, nothing here looks like how San Francisco should look. It just looks very bland. The new game, I believe, I don't know if the whole city of San Francisco is a detailed area, or if just the airport, which is right over there, is just going to be the detailed area. But nonetheless, the graphics should be really, really amazing, considering they're just using Bing images or Bing maps. I'm really excited to see the transformation of this from just being a flat, some boxy buildings to like the actual cities where like you could fly over and say, "Oh, look, that's the house." Because none of these this kind of layout doesn't exist in San Francisco. It's very gritty. There's everything. There's just lines up and down, homes just lined up. They're not like house homes like this. We're not in the suburbs. This is downtown San Francisco we're talking about. We're going to continue down the path. You can just see San Francisco is definitely here. You can see all the buildings. It's not empty. But I'm not sure if this is going to be... It should be really, really amazing once it's done. Like, for example, there's a parking lot here. You can make out the parking lot and some cars. You can tell they use some kind of imagery to say like, oh, okay, this is probably a parking lot. I have no clue if this parking lot's here in real life, but just little things like this. Like if it's a big parking lot, instead of just seeing lines and some shaded colors you can clearly see trees, and then just underneath it, just some color, which I can tell is a parking lot. Just excited to see the little details like that. Like, what are the parking lots going to look like? It's not going to be overlaid just by this gray texture. It should be in some pretty amazing detail. Another thing that I'm really interested in is the water. So we can see the water. And actually, I'll go ahead and get a closer view and take a better look at it.
Over, G.
So you can see it has little ripples in the live view. It does have little ripples. But, I mean, this does not look very good. If you zoom in, you can basically just see the individual pixels of the water that it's trying to create some waves. And in these lakes, they shouldn't, unless it's wind could be doing it as well. But, yeah, you can see that they're definitely trying to make it look like the wind's blowing it. You can see the ripples in it, but I'm really interested to see how they're going to handle it in the new game. We'll come out to the ocean, see what characteristics the ocean has, because we should see, I want to see if we'll have crashing waves, because in the real world, along the beach right here, there should be crashing waves. So on a beach, I want to see if actual waves will be going up. I want to see if I'll be able to see the tides. Here, you're not seeing any tides, right? You're just looking at the line of water that's being drawn for you. So I'm really, really interested to see how that's going to turn out. What else? Some of these towers over here, here's another thing I'm really interested in. All these towers some of them are here in real life, some of them aren't here anymore. I'm really curious the detail they're going to put into the area around the towers. I know they're using like imaging, Google Map imaging, or not Google Map, Bing Map, and these towers look pretty good. They're not horrible, but that looks like it's a 2D object, and when you zoom in, just the texture isn't there. I'm really excited to see if that texture is going to be there. From far away, you can't really tell. It looks fine. And maybe that's how the new game's going to be as well, but when you zoom in, like that it's old. You can tell it's old. It looks very 2D. Another thing is shadows. I know the new game has really, really good shadows. I'm excited to see any new shadows on the ground from the towers. That'll be really interesting to see. Just overall more detail. We're going into a completely new game, and everything's completely different. I mean, everything. There isn't going to be one thing that's the same. The flight model. If they ever release jets, I'm sure the way I'm turning the stick is going to react differently on the new game because the new game is just well designed. I saw a video example where there's like over 200 control surfaces that they calculate on the aircraft. They'll even have the wing stall early. Certain parts of the wing, edge of the wing stall early. I mean, just that's very realistic. So up in the air, we can actually get a good view of San Francisco Airport. I'll fly over and I'll pause. So here's San Jose International. We have 4 runways and all the taxiways. I'm so excited to see their highly detailed KSFO. I bought the I think it was the deluxe or premier version, and San Francisco is one of those detailed airports, and I'm so excited to see the detail, not just open grass, but see the lights, see everything. The terminal. I'm so excited to see these high detail airports. I think they're just going to be gorgeous to actually see the real airport and be able to interact with the services like it's real. That's going to be amazing. Um, Even the aircraft, the cars on the ground, the details there, right? It's not as bad, say, as those towers. You can tell that there is a little bit more detail in the cars, but look at the lines on the windows. It's not a very good looking game. It's not. However, back in the day, this would look beautiful. I'm so excited to see how they're going to transition from this very basic looking aircraft or airport with this. You can see the outlay of the airport. I want to be able to zoom in, and when I'm taxiing out to one right or one left, I want to see the fences back here. I know they have when I drive past here. There's many rows of those. I think it's the jet blast barriers to stop the jet blast from leaving. I want to see those. I want to see the lighting system. I want to see all of the airport markings. All of the airport markings are designated by these yellow boxes, and this tells you, okay, on this taxiway, you're on Bravo. Left and right is going to turn on to hotel. You can see the signs. I'm so excited to see the new signs that they put in. They have all LEDs at San Francisco, San Jose. I'm wondering if they're going to have a difference between LED lights and the normal bulbs because some airports have transitioned to LED or not. I don't know if they're going to go into that much detail, but San Francisco should be a beautiful, beautiful airport in the new flight simulator, and I'm so excited to see it. I'll just fly around it for a second here. I'll let you get a nice look at it. I believe they actually did a really good job with San Francisco, even in Flight Simulator X. I did download a few scenery packs previously to make it look nicer, and they worked okay. They worked well, but it was so strange because when you download a scenery pack, all it does is the airport. So I had the whole updated airport, and then everything else just looked black. Like it was a 10 on the airport and a 1 with everything else around it. It didn't fit in well. You couldn't have a high detailed airport when the rest of the world looked like garbage. So I actually took it away because it just didn't look right. It looked like something that was copy pasted on top. Don't get me wrong, it was beautiful. But I'm so excited for the new game. Everything else will be up to par. Everything else. So having these high detailed shots, I just can't even imagine. Getting the actual terminals to see the drop off zones, and I'm just super, super excited. And when the new game comes out, we'll definitely take a look at San Francisco in more detail. We'll do these same shots so we can get a direct comparison. And in that video, I'll take pictures of this and I'll put them side by side so you can see the update for KSFO. But that'll be it for this video. And I'll get one more shot of San Francisco for you. Turn. Pause there. Here's one more shot of San Francisco, kind of in the distance. You can see the Golden Gate Bridge, the Bay Bridge, and that's the heart of San Francisco, downtown San Francisco. You can see Alcatraz there in the distance. We'll see if we can actually zoom in on it. I'm so excited for the new game. I hope you guys are as well, and I will see you next time. Thank you.